Hi guys, and welcome to Gas City Gaming's Warhammer 8th edition preview videos. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the characters and more stuff that has been revealed about the shooting phase and weapons and how we're going to handle our ranged weapons in 40k going forward. So we'll just get right to it. Yesterday they released some details about how characters are going to be handled. The first of which, the point they really wanted to hammer home, is that they want to eliminate Death Stars when you would have, cross-codex units join each other and give one unit a lot of really powerful abilities and make it really difficult to kill. They really want to get rid of that. So going forward, characters cannot join units anymore. Now, if you play currently, I believe this just speaks to independent characters, not characters like your Sergeant. Obviously, right? But special characters can't join units anymore, or independent characters can't join units anymore. So your Dark Apostle for Chaos, named characters like Robot Gilliman, special named characters like that can no longer join units. Instead, what they're going to have is normally the abilities that they would have given to the unit that they were a part of will instead be bubble-based abilities within 6 inches, 12 inches, different abilities, different effects. Also, the units that they affect will have to share a keyword with them. So they, for example, if for some reason, if you're running Blood Angels and Necrons because you're playing out that conflict and you want to be fluffy with Blood Angels and Necrons, don't ask me, your Blood Angel characters won't be able to pass on any benefits to the Necron characters because those guys really won't share any keywords. When we get to, will Blood Angels be able to share abilities to Space Wolves? We don't know yet. The only reason because it says they would have to share a keyword. We don't know if the keyword is going to be Blood Angels and Space Wolves. If that's the case, then they won't be able to share the abilities. But if they share a keyword that just says Space Marines or Armies of the Imperium, maybe they will. We have yet to see about that to be 100% sure, but like I said in these videos, for the most part, I'm talking about stuff that GW has confirmed and is 100% going to happen. So as an example that they give, I'm going to butcher this, I apologize, a Dark Elder character named the Drazar as an incubi. He lets you add 1 to the hit rolls of all friendly incubi units that are within 6 inches of him in the fight phase. So, kind of your incubi lord. He makes all your incubi who are in close combat 1 better to hit in combat, so it probably means they're hitting on 2s, I would think. We haven't seen their stat line spoiled yet, but probably means they're hitting on 2s. Another example they gave was the Kroot Shaper. He allows nearby Kroot to reroll wound rolls of 1 and to share his leadership. Now, it didn't say this is in a certain phase, it just said all wound rolls of 1, so that seems alright. I'm not sure how expensive point-wise Kroot Shapers are, but that seems alright as long as they're not too much. Now, in the shooting phase, how they make up for this, normally you would join your independent characters to a unit to kind of absorb a lot of the shots coming at them. I want my character to live, so I'm going to put him in this unit, and all the regular guys in this unit will die before they do. How they're going to change that and make it so that your character is more survivable now is that in the shooting phase, you can't target a character unless they're the closest enemy model, right? So this is pretty big. The reasoning they give to it is it represents the difficulty in picking out individuals amidst the maelstrom of battle and applies to all characters with a wound characteristic of 10 or less. So your general stuff like a Chaos Lord is probably going to have 10 or less. Your Dark Apostle is going to have 10 or less. A regular Necron Overlord will have 10 or less. Most characters, just general characters like that, are going to have 10 or less. For example, we saw the stat line of Robot Gilliman. He has 9 wounds, so he's going to follow this rule. You cannot shoot at Robot Gilliman unless he's the closest model to your unit. Of all the things, this is going to get a little bit more opinion as opposed to just a rules overview. Of all the rules so far, this is probably the one I don't like the most. Not the fact that they can't join, but just the fact that I can't shoot at it. So I can, move my army across the board in such a way to wait, maybe you can't ever shoot at them. And is it just going to be closest legal target to shoot at? Because if I'm closer to a combat that's going on with 2 engaged units, and then there's Gilliman, just using his as an example, and there's a character, can I shoot at him because shooting at this combat isn't a legal target for me? I would assume that would be okay, but still I'm probably going to have to get pretty close to that character in order to be able to take any shots at it. So yes, this is kind of good in that it doesn't let you pick off characters immediately with things like instant death and just, oh, squish, it's dead with my rocket or my rocket launcher from across the map. Oh well, darn. But it's probably the least logical thing to me so far. Like I said, they've taken more steps with logic. Okay, different squad members can shoot at different things. That makes sense, because yes, they could. They'd be allowed to do that. Target priority, right? But I would rather them do something like a hit modifier, like a -2 or -3 hit modifier to that rule, right? Maybe -3, or you have to hit on 6s. Even post-modifications, it has to be a modified roll of 6 to hit a character if the character is on their own. I still want that chance, right? Because I can, like I said, I can screen my characters then if I want to, or, you know, just a lot of different things I can see that possibly being exploited. That being said, going forward now, big characters who have more than 10 wounds, the example they give is Magnus the Red, will have over a dozen wounds, so you can shoot at Magnus freely. Since he has more than that 10 wounds that the rule states, because you can't shoot at something as long as the wounds are 10 or less, a wound's characteristic of 10 or less. So if Magnus, if he has 15 wounds, say you take him down to 9, you still can shoot at him as much as you want, because his characteristic on his stat sheet still qualifies him to be shot at. So that's better because, you know, they're giant, monstrous-looking things, so yes, of course, you could shoot at them. Whereas things like a Primarch, like Illiman, for example, yes, he's bigger than a Space Marine, but there's still a lot of stuff going on. But like I said, I won't get too deep into my complaints about this. Another rule they have, kind of final ability for that for characters, helps them out a little bit in melee, is they've changed Heroic Intervention. Now, previously it was kind of a way to interrupt a combat and hopefully save somebody. The new Heroic Intervention, though, is that characters near a combat can pile in and attack if the enemy comes close enough, even if they aren't charged. So, if you've watched the fight video, how it's going to happen is, okay, we're in our combat phase, and you're within, they haven't said the exact distance, they've just said if it's close enough. I'm guessing that's going to be the 3-inch rule. But if it's close enough to a combat, the character I can nominate my character for an activation. He will activate and then pile in and attack in that combat. So he doesn't necessarily, basic characters kind of have free 3-inch charges, essentially, into combats if somebody's close enough. So that's kind of cool. I like that. They kind of, the reasons they give is it kind of fills out the zealotry that most characters will have. You know, the example they give is a chaplain. That chaplain's gonna have a hard time restraining himself. Be like, no, I'm gonna be here. They're right there, but I'm gonna just be here with my power maul. You guys aren't cool, but I gotta wait until I can charge it. No, he's just gonna be able to get in. So I like that. Makes characters a little bit better. Not being able to shoot at them. Kind of that balance in the not being able to shoot at them versus them being able to pile in the middle. And of course, they're going to have more wounds as well. Now, if you see this being a big thing, remember, we haven't seen a lot of melee weapons spoiled yet. So, like, personally, for me, I can see power fists doing, like, D3 damage. So I attack Guilliman here with a unit of Assault Space Marines, and, you know, I choose to activate them first out in my phase. They have a very real possibility of taking him down. Right? They're not invincible characters. When you see 9 wounds, you put that in the kind of the context of 7th edition. You think, oh my goodness, these guys are invincible. It's going to be really hard to kill them. We'll see in a second with some of our weapon profiles how that's not going to necessarily be the case. Alright, so moving on to more shooting spoilers for today. Twin link weapons, first thing they have spoiled, have changed. So we have our twin heavy bolter here. All they've done is they've just all twin link weapons. Rather than re-rolling your misses, get twice as many shots. Yup. That seems good. I will take that. So you can math hammer that out. Really, I think it ends up pretty close to the same, because you take all your misses, you re-roll them for hits again, you're going to get a certain portion more, whereas if I roll twice as many dice, I'm going to get roughly the same portion, or kind of close to it. But math hammer, I'm sure there's a small difference one way or the other. I haven't figured that out for myself yet, but I'm not a big math hammer person, just probabilities and stuff. There's probably a small difference in that, but I would say close to negligible. I haven't read to see if anybody's mathed that out yet. I'm sure people have, but I haven't for myself. So our first stat line we're going to go over for today is a twin heavy bolter, formerly the twin linked heavy bolter. It has a 36-inch range. It's heavy 6. has strength 5, as armor penetration of -1, so that modifies our armor saves -1, so your Space Marines are 3 up, turns it into a 4 up save, and does 1 damage per unsaved wound. So heavy 6, remember heavies have changed, they can move and shoot at -1 hit modifier. So a regular Space Marine is hitting on 3s with his ranged weapons. Our Twin-Link Bolter can move his full movement range and hit on 4s if it's a Space Marine. So heavy weapons have gotten a lot better in that respect for sure. And strength 5 as well, so it's been wounding more easily and stripping away part of your opponent's armor save. So pretty good weapon choice there. Following with this twin-linked thinking, I just wanted to mention as well, on vehicles, how many twin-linked weapons are there on vehicles, or orcs for twin-linked weapons? Orcs getting twice as many shots on all their twin-linked weapons? Yeah. Twin-linked las cannons on Imperial vehicles, Night Scythe having its twin-linked Tesla weapons, 4 shots, doubling that up to 8 shots, and if Tesla remains at all the same as what it used to be, oh my goodness, 8 shots with Tesla? Okay, I'll take it. Going forward, though, we have to see our next weapon that was spoiled for today, combi-melta. Now, for combi weapons overall, I'll note this before we kind of get into the details of the weapon here. The new rules about combi weapons are awesome. You're going to see a lot more of them on the table going forward. Combi weapons can now use either mode as much as they want. It's no more, for this case of our combi melta, you can use your melta gun as much as you want in any phase. Doesn't matter. But you can also actually shoot both halves in the same shooting phase. But if you choose to do that, it's going to be a -1 hit modifier to each of them. Oh no, right? I'm still good for that, thanks. So our combi melta, let's get into the actual stat line of it here. It says, when attacking with this weapon, choose one or both of the profiles below. If you choose both, subtract 1 from all hit rolls for this weapon. So, again, you can choose both every turn if you want, but then you're a little less likely to hit, right? But still, oh my goodness. So we've seen our bolt gun, spoiler before, bolt gun, 24 inches, rapid fire 1, strength 4, no armor modifier, and does 1 damage. But melta guns, keep in mind this is our combi meltas, so traditionally combi meltas have been a shorter range than actual meltas. But our combi melta, the one that's kind of stapled onto the bottom of the bolter, is 12-inch range, assault 1, strength 8, and has a -4 armor modifier. So this, in 7th edition terms, it's essentially AP 3. So models with a 2-up save will have it turn into a 6-up save. Its abilities: if the target is within half range of this weapon, roll 2 dice when inflicting damage with it, and discard the lowest. So I'm going to shoot your Land Raider, or yeah, we'll say Land Raider, with my melta gun. I hit, I wound, you fail your save because it probably went down to a 2-up if you still got one even. Then I roll 2 dice. Of those 2 dice, I get a 4 and a 6. Of the 6, that's how many wounds you suffer. So again, my ballpark with the Land Raider is probably guessing around 15 wounds-ish. I don't know. 15 to 18 maybe. So you take 6 wounds now from that one melta gun, if it's within melta range. So this is kind of the new melta special rule. Congratulations, we've seen that. It's kind of cool how they're just letting these leaking little things out like that. Like, we never saw a melta before. Here it is. So we have our new melta rule, which looks really good. Similar to... oh, there's so many rules, guys. They're similar to a rule before in which you got to roll 2 dice, pick the better of the 2. It's not Armor Bane. Armor Bane was both. But there was a rule similar to that somebody is going to mention in the comments, and then I'm not going to be able to remember this video. But anyway, so similar to that rule, but that's how many wounds you take now instead of that being an armor pen roll, since that's completely different now. But I really like it. The versatility, so imagine how much more combi plasma you're going to see out on the battlefield, how much more combi meltas you're going to see, combi grav. I know for myself, I'm really excited to wield some combi weapons out there and shoot with them every phase. -1 to hit, as opposed to some higher strength, better armor piercing weapons. I'm really excited to use that going forward. So our last spoiler we have for today, or reveal that we have for today, is Battle Cannon. This speaks to all the blast weapons, in that the blasts are now going to be a roll of a die to see how many shots that they get. So in this case here, we don't really know if all large blasts, because the Battle Cannon was a large blast, we don't know if all large blasts will for sure be replaced by a D6 roll, and small blasts replaced by a D3, but I can see them doing that. That would just kind of make sense consistency-wise, especially for the people moving from 7th to 8th. So you have a random roll to see how many shots you could get. One, you could get 6, and anywhere in between, of course, for our battle cannon here. Battle cannon has a 72-inch range. I never played a lot with battle cannons before, but I think that hasn't changed. Heavy D6, so D6 shots. Strength 8, armor modifier of -2, and does D3 wounds for each unsaved wound. So if I'm shooting this at a vehicle, I could get 6 shots, you know, hitting on whatever the tank's ballistic skill is, probably 3s. You know, if they armor modifier of -2, so if I hit with 4 of the shots, again, we're going to math this out. If I hit with 4 of the shots, their 3-up save goes down to a 5-up save. They fail 2 of those 4, so I have 2, and then I roll 2d3 to see how many wounds I've taken off. With some good rolling and some bad rolling, a battle cannon can be devastating again. And because of the modifier to the shots, this is actually good against infantry as well. The D3 damage doesn't matter as much. It could if there's, you know, I was going to say if there's a character in the unit, but if you're going against Terminators or some kind of multi-wound unit, then that's when the D3 would come into play. But with single wound, just regular Space Marines or Guardsmen, for example, the D3 is just going to be 1 automatically all the time, because that's all the models in the unit will have. But shooting this against like a little clumped up unit of Assault Marines, Assault Terminators, I'd really enjoy that, because they're going to have their 2-up save. It's going to turn into a 4-up, so 50-50 chance. And again, rolling D3 to see how many wounds, 2/3 chance that I'm just going to kill Terminators with each unsaved wound from this. So that's pretty good. I like that. I hope they do kind of just do a blanket rule, you know, that it's D6 for things that were a large blast, D3 for things that were a small blast. I'd be fine with that. I can't think of something offhand. I don't know all the weapons in 40k or anything like that by far, but I can't think of something offhand that would really break or make horrible or make really good or really unbounce too badly. Unbalanced like it's balanced now. Anyway, though, that's all I really have for you today. So again, keep a reminder for you guys. If you like the videos, you can do me a big favor by liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, anything that helps me get out there, helps people know what I'm doing. I'm getting a lot of awesome, really encouraging comments from you guys, and I really appreciate that. I read all the comments, absolutely. Try and comment back if I can, if I have something to add to the conversation going on. But also, if you subscribe and you comment on a video, then you will be entered in a draw for at least minimum a Warhammer 8th edition core rulebook. And depending on how many, you know, views, subscribes, etc. I have at the time, I hope to give away some of the codexes as well. Rumor is there's going to be an Army of the Imperial one, a Chaos one, a Xenos one, and then kind of an art book. But that's rumor by far now, so we'll see. Hopefully I can do that for you guys, because I need a way to thank you other than saying thank you. I would love to give you guys something and share all in this game that we all hopefully enjoy. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day, guys. And remember, the Emperor protects.